All right, everybody. So, oh wait, are you here?
Okay, that's
There
better.
you
Can you
go.
hear me now?
There you go.
Cool.
Okay. So I don't know what's going on with my PC right now, but it keeps crashing. So we're gonna wrap it up here within probably within the next few minutes. But we're
All
gonna
right.
have him finish up telling us about Hell Week.
All right. Are we back in?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We're live.
All right. So let's see, where was I? Anyway, so they wake you up really in the morning, and Hell Week is just it's just your introduction to VMI. It's just a crash course in the slang, the knowledge you have to do. Like for example, getting boned there is something again completely different. It's getting a formal reprimand or getting a demerit. But so at the end of Hell Week, you go through this thing called the Crucible, and basically during Hell Week, you're still not really officially a rat. You haven't even earned that right yet, and technically, being a rat is a privilege that you earn in some way, shape, or form. At the end of Hell Week, there's this thing called the Crucible, and it's just uh, for a good portion of the day, it's just you take off all your name tags and anything that can be used to identify you. So we have these things called OCPs, which is the normal army camouflage uniform, right? We have those, and they have the names on our right pec. So we have to take those off. Anything that can be used to identify us is just taken off. We have so basically, again, this is where you really get to be molded together, throwing air quotes there, as a rat mask. And so the whole day we're running around with logs on our shoulders. We're doing push-ups while getting sprayed in the face with water. We have to swim in a river. So it's the entire day of just going through this physically demanding stuff, sprinting up hills. Normally, in a normal year without COA, you'd be throwing people over your shoulders and hauling them around. But it's just this whole day of just physical training, trying to work together in any way they can make us go together. And at the end of it, that's when we receive our rat shoulder boards. So you see sometimes in the movies on the shoulders of officers, they see little like plates or like little things on the shoulders that have like stars on them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the shoulder boards. And basically, as a rat, we get these gray shoulder boards with nothing on them. And as you go up in class rank, you get either stripes or stars or whatever have you. So at the end of the Crucible, that's when you receive your rat shoulder boards, and that officially marks your entrance as a rat mass. And so that's basically Hell Week. So first week there is just getting yelled at for every little thing you do wrong. Um, they'll come in and mess with you. Like for example, I was just folding my shirts, and every time I finished folding a shirt, he would walk in and throw it on the floor and have to refold. And he just did this for 5-10 minutes, just over and over. Just they're trying to put you under stress and get you used to thinking and working in that kind of a situation, an adversarial system, as they call it. So you get through Hell Week, waking up early, eating terrible food, terrible food. Um, just undercooked powdered eggs is not one of my favorite things to eat in the morning. Get through all of that, and then you become an official rat. And then you still have 9 months. I don't know how to do the math. Basically, from that's less than that, about 6 months of being a rat. And then after that, hopefully, you break out. So after Hell Week, it's just more yelling, but then you have classes to worry about on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically. I mean, there's a lot more, a lot of stuff I can't really talk about because they like for a lot of this stuff to be a surprise to people. Like no, I'm not going to go into that. So if any of your listeners ever consider it, do it. It sucks. It's really not fun, but it's worth it at the end of it. I feel like, and you get to meet some really good people.
That's awesome. That's really, yeah. So yeah, that sounds like a boatload of fun. Kind of. Not.
It's one of those things that's fun to look back at the end of it. Sucks while you're going through it, but afterwards you can look back and say, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
There was
What?
well, no, there's one time we were learning how to disassemble our rifles because we do get issued rifles.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my roommates, he was busy disassembling his, and now we're using M14 rifles. Okay, they were like used during the Vietnam era, older things, still owned by the U.S. Army, but they're on loan to VMI. And I went learning how to disassemble them, and of course reassemble them. There's this one part where you have to take this spring, right? And this is basically the spring that helps the bolt go back and forth. Whenever you pull the trigger, bullet fires, the bolt goes back, the casing comes out, and the bolt goes back forward. So there's this spring in there. It's a pretty hefty spring. It's made about, put 2.5 pencils end to end, and that's about how long it is. Maybe just like 2 pencils. So it's just a good sized spring. And so you basically need 2 hands to really push it in to this little tube that it has to go into. And my roommate was doing it, and this was like his third, fourth time assembling it. So his hands were covered with grease. And so one of our sergeants and some of our corporals are in there, and they're doing their thing. They're yelling at us, and it gets to you a little bit, and like you're trying to work fast, and it slips out of his hand. And so normally it just goes shooting off and it flies into a wall or something. But since we're in Virginia in August without air conditioning, we have all of the windows open and the doors are propped open. And he happens to be facing towards the door. And now off the door, there's about a 10-foot wide section of a concrete path that we can walk on the stoop. And then it's just open air facing into the courtyard. So he manages to send his spring flying past the face of our sergeant off into the courtyard. And in the entire time I've been there, I've yet to see another blow up from one of our cadre where they get that mad. It's again, a lot of things with VMI, you have to really be there to experience it and to really understand. But it was one of the most hilarious moments of the entire time, just seeing the face of the sergeant as a spring goes flying past his face and off the 4th story of a building. And then we had to go find it, and he was doing push-ups for a good while, and he's now always known as the rat who sent a spring off a 4th stoop. But so there's just dumb stuff like that just happen that no one can predict, and it's little moments like that make it worth it. And then, a lot of fun, and we'll get there one day. We're almost done. So when we go back this January, we'll probably only have about another month or so of being rats, hopefully, and then we'll have our breakout. But no one knows when your breakout is. All you know is that one morning you're going to wake off and they're going to be firing off a cannon in the courtyard, and that's your wake-up call, and then you just go from there.
Well, that sounds like an interesting that's an interesting story. That poor guy. Oh
that's
my.
in school.
Yeah. And when do you go back?
We'll see how it goes. So currently they have us going back on the 17th of January. So I actually get a very nice extended break from, being a rat, being at VMI. But then I go back 17th, and traditionally it's in the first week of February. But because we have this extended break, they might be extending ours. But like I said, no one really knows. Yeah, it's engineering school. It's definitely one of a kind.
I'm sure it is.
Right. Any more questions for me?
No, I think that's it. I think you've given us a lot of good information, and I'm sure. I honestly thought this was pretty good. It's unfortunate that Vaughn had to miss it. I'm sure he would have loved to hear it. No, I'm sure he would have. He's
there's a lot more, and if I don't know if any of your listeners are interested in going down the rabbit hole, there's a lot of interesting news articles like back from the 90s about, because technically we have it very easy compared to other classes. It used to be, here's the other thing about VMI, it's communal showers and things like that. So you just have little showers. Yeah, back in the old days, the cadre could come into your showers and they'd be yelling at you to hurry up. So so we have it comparatively easy.
Do they spank you?
Classes. Anyway, other
Whoa! You didn't answer. What?
I cannot honestly answer about what happened because I didn't have to go through that.
Wait, so y'all don't have communal showers?
Oh, we have communal showers, but cadre is not allowed to come into our showers, kind of a deal.
Why?
There's I think let's just say, because again, cadre is all just upper class cadets, right? They're all just people 18, 19, 20 years old. That's your cadre. They're still young. Most of them, this is their first time with authority. And some of them go a little bit crazy with it. So there have been, allegations and stories here there of people going a little bit overboard. And again, with the whole idea of it being an adversarial system, people are trying to make it hard for the rats. Things may have happened. Personally, I do not know why they got rid of the shower thing. But it was just one of the things that happened. But like back in the 1950s or 1800s or whatever have you, it's very much a closed system. Like not a lot of information gets out. Like for me, like I don't even really know what the people 1 year ahead of me, right? The class of 2023. I don't really know what they went through. I don't know what their rat line was like. Basically, the only people who know what the rat line was like for a previous year are the upperclassmen. So a lot of that's really kept private, not secret, but just people like to keep private. This again, it's a nice little surprise for what you have to go through.
Yeah.
But but like every class, like they'll always say, "Oh, the latest rat line has it the easiest of everyone who's ever come through." And if we ever have the privilege of being a class, we'll say the same thing about the class of 2025, and 2025 will say it about 2026, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We're one of the things that COVID has made us work with because we've lost a lot of the little things, the little events that make it special, like the March of House Mountain, which is supposed to be this big defining moment. I can't really tell you what the March of House Mountain is supposed to be like because we never had it. But supposedly from the stories we hear, it's supposed to be this really special moment with you and your rat mass. But like we never got that. We aren't allowed to go off campus at all. Like for example, generally on Sundays or Saturdays, you're allowed to go with your family, like go see friends just on the weekend in town as a rat.
Mhm.
COVID, we were not. My first time going off campus was a week before I left. Is when they all packed us into buses and took us to a drive-in movie theater where we just sat outside in the dark, just trying not to freeze. That was my first time off campus in 3 months. And we don't have host families. Normally, every year, there will be a family in the town of Lexington that will adopt a rat or a few rats.
Mhm.
And they'll take care of you, give you a place to crash on the weekends. So we didn't have any of that. And during one period, VMI had a lot of COVID cases. And so normally, rats, you're allowed to go down to visit your dike room during the mornings and the evenings. And the dike room is your safe space, right? No one's allowed to mess with you when you're there. And you can get your phone there because we aren't allowed to have our phones or any kind of entertainment stuff in our room. We have to keep it in our dike room. So, it's a place you just get to chill. We lost our dikes for about just under a month, which is something that no other class that I know of has ever had to deal with. So again, my rat line that I'm going through right now, it's not really comparable to what anyone else has had to gone through. So a lot of stuff happens in previous years that we'll never experience. A lot of things happen in our year that no one else has had to gone through with. It's just each class is a little bit special in its own way, and ours happens to be the COVID rat line.
Yeah, I got you.
But but thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
nice to finally tell people, like, go in detail, like, what we've been going through.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Right.
I'm glad we had you. Thank you to everybody who watched the stream.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you next time. Oh, Julia.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thank you again for watching.